Yeah. Hi, guys. How are you all today? This is awesome. Here we are in this amazing creative space, literally on the edge of one of the busiest intersections in the world where so many people are going on tons of different adventures, and we get to have one right here all together. So, on that note, I would like to start by asking you guys to get involved in a little social experiment of our own. And I'd love for you all to stand up. If everyone could please stand up. Excellent. Oh, thank you. Okay, so now that you're all standing up, I'd love for you all to please close your eyes. And we're all going to take one long, deep breath. Excellent. Okay, now I'd like you all to imagine that you are astronauts. And keep your eyes closed. And you are about to take off into outer space. Now you're in your spaceship, and you're taking off from planet Earth, up into the sky, through the clouds, up to the stars, and you're going to go up to the moon and soar around the moon, and then you're going to come back down and land on planet Earth. Thank you. Please open your eyes. Okay, so how many of you guys were wearing a spacesuit? Just give me a show of hands. Okay, that's pretty good. About maybe 15% of you guys. How many of you had a crash landing? One person? Two people, three people, okay. How many of you guys experienced true weightlessness while you were up there? Okay, a few more, excellent, thank you. Please be seated. So this example from the Stanford Design School is one of my favorites because it demonstrates how often as adults we tend to follow instructions instead of engaging our imagination. So this really brings up the question, in our work and in our lives, how often are we not following our creative abilities and not using our imagination, but instead simply just following instructions? Well, there was a time in my life where I was only following instructions and was stuck in an overly linear education model. As a child, I struggled because I did not learn the way the school system wanted me to learn. I was dyslexic and I was hyperactive, and I could not learn by memorizing and sitting still in a classroom, no matter how hard I tried. But one day, in the 4th grade, right before a dreaded science exam, I gathered my friends together in the playground, and I encouraged them to make believe that we were a bunch of primates and monkeys going through the evolutionary process. Now, when we returned to the classroom, we self-organized in a way that the teacher simply could not refuse. She let us perform our skit, and as a result, we had no time left for our science exam. In a way, that play became our exam. In that moment, I realized that I could navigate my own education. And I gave myself the permission to learn through authentic, free play from then on. Today, I'm an entrepreneurial learner. This means that I learn through trying new things. As a result of that, I've been able to literally make believe my own dream job into reality. And you can too. When we give ourselves the permission to play authentically and freely, we are tapping into our human-driven ability to innovate, evolve, and create the world that we want to live in. That's why today I'm here to talk to you guys about how and why we can bring free play into our adult lives. So what is free play if not following instructions? It's not being overly committed to outcomes. So often we are afraid to share our work and our ideas if they're not perfect. But imperfection can lead to amazing things. Play is getting lost in time and following your intuition. This can mean losing an entire afternoon reading a book and not putting it down. Play is voluntary, and it's done for its own sake. It can be very hard work, and it is not always easy. But play motivated by itself can be an amazing driver of high performance. So was it always like this? Was there a time when play was a primary driver in culture? Currently, we are in a very linear version of society that typically does not encourage creative development. It went from man, the knower, who made things based on what he knew, and then played based on what he made. Historic examples show that we used to imagine what was possible, and then create prototypes of our ideas, and then learn as a result of playing. If you look at this picture, you'll notice that everybody is playing. People are moving their bodies, interacting with each other, and trying new things. In ancient Greece, they used to imagine and then prototype what a modern city could be. Over time, the Romans and other world leaders adapted some of their ideas, but ultimately, this was a period where we made everything up, from high streets to aqueducts. The Mayans are also another example. Mayans used to throw festivals before they built their cities. Traditional Mayans were more surveyors and builders than farmers. Only hundreds of years later did they come back, settle, take up farming, and build their cities. So, can you guys imagine what would happen with all the creativity and the ideas and the open source learning that we have in this room today if we went back to a mentality of playing and then prototyping? It'd be amazing. What would our city look like? So, how do we bring free play back into our lives? The magic circle. So, the magic circle is a psychological and a physical term that has existed for centuries in various forms. Physically, it is a place that is not overly defined, but has a separate function to the home or the office. It is things such as the library, the dance floor, the Italian piazza, the coffee shop, the dinner table, all of which are concentrated playgrounds of their own. Psychologically, the magic circle is the place where freedom and connection guide your decision-making, such as going for a walk and exploring a new neighborhood, or even talking to a stranger. The magic circle is a mindset. It's a blank canvas, and it's a temporary world within the ordinary world, all dedicated to the freedom and permission to play. So, one wonderful example of the magic circle, as well as learning through playing, is of course Burning Man. You guys were asked earlier, but I'd love to see it again. How many of you have been to Burning Man? Wow, I'd say it's about 20% of the people in this room. So, Burning Man, Black Rock City in Nevada, is a city that is built by its 75,000 participants every year. Nothing is bought or sold, and everything disappears without a trace at the end of the event. Burning Man is a place where not only you can make whatever you want and you have the permission to play, but it's also a place where failure is a part of the experience. Today, we have regional offshoots in cities all over the world, including here in Japan. For those of you who haven't been, let's take a look at this short clip. Awesome. Okay, so Burning Man may be an extreme example of the magic circle, but it is also a culture and a catalyst for a more engaged sense of citizenship. In the last 5 years that I've worked with the Burning Man nonprofit, I've consulted with mayors and innovation councils, to developers of future use spaces, to all kinds of startups who all want to learn how to apply the benefits of free play and bottom-up emergent innovation into their organizations and communities. So what are the benefits of play? Science shows that when we are playing, we are creating new neural pathways in our brain. And when we go back to the office on Monday, we're able to access new solutions. Play is our inherent ability to evolve through trial and error. We don't innovate in the lab. We test hypotheses in a lab. And play takes us to all kinds of make-believe realities, which are the building blocks of future realities. So, as I said to you guys earlier, there was a time in my life when I was stuck in an overly linear system, and play helped me get unstuck and put me on my path as an entrepreneurial learner. To the extent that free play still exists today is because the magic circle still exists today. The more we make time to step into the magic circle mindset, the more free play will live in our lives. Now, coming to events like TEDx and creating spaces like this is just the start. Play is a powerful tool that we all have access to. So what about you guys? I want to challenge you to play today. I want you to bring it back into your lives, into your ritual, and into our shared culture. Because just like Burning Man, we can co-create the world that we want to live in. We can even make it up. Thank you.